United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, let's call the meeting to order. It's 7 o'clock. Roll call. We got John Kincaid here, Jennifer Rich,
Here.
John Goldsberry here, and Zach Kittendorf.
Present.
All right, November minutes. Everybody got a chance to review the November minutes? Any questions, concerns?
I'll make a motion to approve minutes.
All right. All in favor to approve the November 3rd minutes? Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, motion passes 3-0. Minutes approved.
Sorry, I missed that. Who made that motion?
John and
Okay.
Jennifer second.
Have to bear with me. Making it easy on Eileen so she doesn't have to retype anything. The 7th we had that meeting. November 3rd, excuse me. Okay. All right. We'll go ahead and get into my report. So the community center is starting to pick up, which is pretty typical for November. Once the weather starts turning, people are more than happy to come in and use the facility. We did have a 4-hour rental and an all-day rental, in addition to the 3 Thursdays that Eric Elliott rented for his karate. So we saw a little bump there on the large room. Completed projects. We did winterize the restroom water lines at the park. So all the water lines have been winterized. I had spoken with Nick Sanitary last week, and they should have a portable toilet at the playground here this week. So,
Did you guys winterize the unit field as well already, the irrigation?
yeah, I did that beginning of last month.
Is that holding up well over the years?
Yeah,
Good.
yeah. I mean, just a few, like maybe some sprinkler caps, but it's not been any major maintenance issues. And then trail maintenance. Last month, Jeff and I had spent a couple days along the trail, going from basically from the medical center down toward Patricia Cook Drive. And there was a bunch of Bradford pears in the right of way that kind of got out of hand. We went ahead and cleaned all those up, chipped them up, which should help us keep that right of way maintained a little easier, keep it sprayed and mowed. And then we did notice a couple of the culvert pipes in the bottom. I think it was post-construction, just some erosion that had kind of silted in some of the culvert pipes that go into the highway. Got with Russ on that, and we should be working on getting those cleaned out sometime this winter. So,
Do we have any updates on like getting those bridges cleaned up? I saw a lady post on Facebook not too long ago that she fell down and people were, basically she said to be careful crossing those bridges.
yeah,
I know we had a bid from Santa Claus Exterior for like, I don't know, $1,500 or something, but did they find a way to, like, where does that money come from? Do we have the money to do it coming up this year, or what does that look like?
so it would be appropriated out of the Trails donation account. There will be money in there. I think we had talked about actually getting there's like plastic strips with like a texture to them, and actually taking and putting those on the bridges. I'm going to start with one set at the park and just see how they do. I think the pressure washing, I mean, if we wanted to try it on a bridge ourselves, we could. I don't know how much good it's going to do, just because those bridges pretty much stay saturated because they're in the shade and they don't really dry out.
They said they put like an algicide or something on there, and you mentioned they use it at Holiday World, and it works really good, but
Yeah, we use it
can
on
we
just like
get that for cheaper and try it, or?
Yeah, we could get that. I'm sure we could find something, even if I had to get a hold of like our chemical supplier for herbicides and stuff. They would
It's
probably
like
have
even
something.
like power washing it, you're not gonna have a way to get water up there without a water truck.
True.
And that's what Santa Claus Exterior can do, they can bring their truck, but I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud, like, it would look nicer, and if we have somebody that goes down, it's gonna be a problem. And for $1,500, it's a lot cheaper than the problem.
Yeah, well, and I think the pressure washing would help, but I don't think it's necessarily going to eliminate the problem.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll send you the name of the chemical that we use over at the park and see if we put anything on our Thanksgiving bridge, because I know that stays pretty damp where that's at
Okay.
too, and see if they have any.
I've slipped on it before, just walking. I worry about like elderly people, but then also like the kids on the bikes.
Yeah.
There's a ton of kids that go, and if they go flying across there and it's slicker and snot, that's what I worry about.
Sure.
I don't know, I just feel like we need to do something, because if we don't and it happens, it's worse than if we do and it happens. At least we can say we addressed it, you know what I mean?
Yep. Yep. We'll.
And I don't know, like, does it have to come out of Trails donation?
That would be the only fund. I mean, I guess cumulative.
Like, can we even use,
It's a service, so you can't really use any of the capital funds.
can we use our donation money?
I could check with Pat Moore. I would think it would need to come from trail donation, but I could ask.
I mean, it's just not a big chunk of money, that's why,
Oh yeah, I don't disagree.
yeah.
Don't
I
disagree.
just, I really do worry that
Excuse me.
somebody's gonna get hurt.
Yep.
And you know who they're gonna come talking to, all of us.
Yep. Excuse me. One thing I forgot that jogged my memory. We did rebuild the structural portions and the railing of the shelter house by the J Cutler Field, that little wooden one in the woods. We had found that, I guess, excuse me, over time, the leaves had kind of built up around the posts of the shelter itself, between that and the dirt. And they didn't really make like their concrete. When they set the posts in concrete, they set them below grade. So over time, those cedar posts wicked up moisture and just rotted off. I mean, there was literally nothing attached to the ground. It was just the frame of the deck that it was screwed to that was holding everything together.
Wow.
But we got that addressed, put new treated posts in, and then put new treated railing all the way around. We poured a little bit of concrete to get it up to grade. So should be good for
Yeah, it
another
looks
15 or
really
20
good.
years.
That's great.
So
I still wish we could turn that little pond into something, because it's just an eyesore back there, and it could be something really cool, but I don't know how we can do it.
it's kind of odd, really. Like, I can understand why they built it. Basically, they built it to try to protect the creek bank coming down off of that hillside from Lake Rudolph, because there's two draws down through there that when it rains hard, I'm sure carry a lot of water. And so they basically just built a retention pond that they don't even have a drain or anything in it. So the water is just stagnant. It doesn't really go anywhere. So, I mean, I guess we could probably address that with a pipe and a riser.
Well, DNR.
Almost make it like a dry dam.
Waterways of the US or whatever it is, will
I
they
know.
let us touch it, or?
I would think that we could, just because it's a man-made structure to begin with. That wasn't there before they put that shelter in. Yeah, I could make a few phone calls that we might not get a quick answer, but that would be my thought. Was basically we would dig into the dam or the keyway, whatever you want to call it, of that pond, put a pipe in, and then just put a riser pipe in it. That way, when the water hits a certain level, it drains it out. But almost like a dry dam. So,
Yeah, because it's eroding on both sides of the shelter too, where the
Yeah.
creek flows in and out of it. You would think they wouldn't want that either.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that until we bring it to their attention, they probably aren't gonna be calling to ask us if it's doing okay. So,
And it might draw
Yeah.
other attention that they don't want.
yeah.
Never know.
I mean, I don't think there's really any issues. It's more, I mean, I know like when you're dealing with a creek bank like that, like trees, for example, you can cut the trees down, but you can't dig the roots up. You can't disturb the bank. So,
You can
I
only
know
cut the
quite a
trees
bit.
down at certain times of the year.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's where we're at on that. And we'll, as far as the trails are concerned, there are 2 retaining walls, I guess 3 technically, that I will try to get addressed this winter. My goal is to get all of the saplings and stuff cut out of them so that we can get herbicide sprayed down along those retaining walls and keep them cleaned up. We definitely don't want tree roots growing into those retaining walls along the trail, so. That's on the list. Still working with Brian Pund on finishing up the key fob entry on the double doors at the community center. We've got the wires pulled through the doors. It's just a matter of getting everything else wired up and tied into the fire alarm system and everything else. Was in touch with Universal Design. They've sent out the quotes for the foyer restroom, or request for quotes, excuse me, for the foyer restroom. And the plan is to have those turned in so that they can be opened at the January meeting. Basically, the council has appropriated funds from Cume Building for that project. We will open them at the park board meeting and then make a recommendation requesting most likely the most responsible low bidder. Take it under advisement, whatever you want to say. And then Universal Design will arrange from there as far as getting them scheduled with us and all that jazz. And then Universal's also going to inspect everything when the project's complete. Brett seemed to think that with that timeline, we should have no problem getting that completed before April, which would be good. One more thing from the design perspective. So I had a virtual call with CHA and Clint Rose from Midwest. I'm assuming that Midwestern is still going to be called Midwestern. They're just a subsidiary of CHA. We had met with their team, and seems like they're interested in helping us. They did recommend kind of a redesign, if you will, just because of the budget constraints compared to what REA estimated. Basically, we felt like a budget between 1 and 2 million would be reasonable. The priority obviously would be the playground, but then if we can get any of the necessary utility improvements around the playground, so we don't have to tear the playground up in the future. And then from there would be any parking enhancements, maybe the Great Lawn. Depends kind of on how the budget thing shakes out. It would kind of follow a similar approach as to what we did with REA. They would provide concepts of the redesign, they would come to the town meetings, and then they would do some actual, like, using LiDAR and some other things to actually get, like, dimensional sketches. They're not gonna, like, fully engineer the thing out, but it'll be a little more in-depth than what REA did. They're ballparking $18,750 for those services. And talking with Clint, he felt like it is a necessary thing and it would benefit us to do it. So I'm gonna say we should probably trust Clint's judgment. I don't think Clint would steer us wrong, being that he is a member of the community and has volunteered a lot of time at the park as well. I do think he has our best interest, and I don't think he would lead us astray. The question comes down to where would the funds come from? So we have a few different options. We could use the park's budget next year to do it. Basically, what would end up happening, because that money's already been appropriated and kind of put in the buckets, you know, for salaries, repairs, services, utilities, we could go ahead and pay for it out of our budget. And then basically at the end of the year, assuming we would have a surplus in like our building and equipment, we could shift, the council could shift money from that line item to our outside services. No big deal.
And you're referring to the 18,000.
Correct. We could use donation funds. We could request the council to use our special fund, which is basically like our concession and user fees fund. Or we could ask them to use some of the money that they have appropriated for the playground itself. I would imagine that it would probably be seeded. I don't know if they would use TIF funds for that, but they might. I don't know legally.
What would be the best option, you think?
I mean, I think donation or special fund would probably be logical, just because we don't have to adjust any of our operating budget to do it.
Do we have enough to cover that, one of those funds?
We should, either one. We've got more money available in the special fund, and it's a pretty rare occasion when we do use that. So,
What type of steps do you have to go through to be able to have access to them?
so the donation fund basically would be at your all's approval. The special fund, we would just recommend to the council that we use special fund money, and then they give us yes or no, basically.
I just don't think we should take it out to playground and, further, pushing that, everybody just push that back more.
I think whatever the fastest approach
Yeah.
is without, creating more of a time gap down the road.
Right, because if we don't want to use all of our money and not have any money to get the project going.
If we go through this process from start to finish, when do we think we would have a final project? Like, when would the playground be?
Like a design in hand.
Not like a playground. for
breaking
people to play
ground.
on. Not even breaking ground.
Right,
like
yeah, you want to
complete
complete,
Ideally, if all of the financial dominoes fell into place and everybody was on the same page, I would think we could probably have a playground late 26, early 27.
I think that's what we should strive
Because
for.
it's really not a large project.
Right. Yeah, and I think it'd be a huge plus for our community, for us to show growth, to get the ball rolling, the other stuff that we have coming.
I think it's the biggest thing needed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and how many times have we had to, had to repair little things on the current one, and,
You just had to redo that platform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and in addition, we're getting the utility stuff upgraded too, which will help you down the road later.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too. I mean, even if we don't get, obviously I don't think we're gonna get the restroom and concession building in the event lawn and the parking all done in that budget. But at least if we get the playground done and we do our due diligence on the utility side of things, it allows us to keep moving forward without having to tear things up and rework stuff.
and then once people start seeing us moving things, maybe we'll start getting more donations.
Sure. Yeah, that's what I see in it. I think we get that ball rolling and generate more momentum going into the bigger stuff down the road.
Yeah.
Get the buy-in from the community
Because then, yeah, you kind of reduce the amount of "is this real" questions.
Yeah, like,
Well, I think the community would look at it as a big, it's a big win for all our members because, that's the biggest complaint out here.
Well, it's like anything else, I mean, we can talk about all kinds of stuff that we wanna do, but we have to start with something.
Right.
Start somewhere.
Yep.
That'll light the fire.
Yeah, I think if we can get that, and with all the other work that you've been doing, just from the visible eye, out of the park, and as far as quit taking it in place and all, well, I mean, just the work you just did on that,
The shelter.
on the shutter. I mean, you get all that going that way, I mean, it's awesome, man. So,
I think we squeeze in the, what's the game with the boards in the mall, I forget what they call it.
Gaga
Oh,
ball.
Gaga ball pit.
Squeeze the Gaga ball in the whole project.
There you go. Well, I mean, ideally, that's kind of what I would like to wait on with the Gaga ball pit is like, okay, let's get the playground set and at least figure out where that is because that's going to dictate a lot of where other things are going to go.
yeah.
And it may become part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might be able to use, instead of getting a surface that comes with the, that might already be able to use whatever we put in for the new playground.
Is there yet? Okay, so if you guys are good with that, I'm fairly certain that we do have the donation funds to do this. So if you guys are interested in doing it that way, then I would suggest a motion to utilize park donation funds on the basis that there's at least $18,750 in that fund.
I was gonna say, what do we have currently in that fund?
If memory serves, let me look back through my budget.
We'll start new donation sponsor request in January, right?
Correct. And I would say
Or do we start like in December?
we'll try to start it here at the end of the year. Traditionally, we've done it starting in January. And we've probably, I would say on average, $12,000 to $15,000 a year is pretty typical. The community's been very supportive, especially in the last 2 or 3 years. With the scoreboard sponsorships, we've gone well above that, but that's not going to be an every year thing, obviously.
Thank you, sponsors.
Yes.
Thank you, sponsors.
Christmas time,
Yeah, we should have plenty. So this obviously was as a budget prep. We've spent a little bit of money from donation on like inflatables and stuff like that for events. The balance should be somewhere around 45,000, roughly. So yeah, we should have plenty. So I would say just make the motion to recommend.
I'll make a motion to approve, to use the donation fund for $18,750.
I'll second
All right, got a motion to approve using the donation money. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Okay. And then the ice rink is coming up the 20th and 21st at the community center as part of the Christmas celebration weekends. We will have the inflatable In the building, we will have the ice rink outside. I believe last year, was it America's Christmas Hometown or maybe Santa Claus Arts that got started at that point? They did like hot chocolate fundraiser or cookie fundraiser. I can't remember what it was.
They had hot chocolate and cookies.
Yeah.
Now, will we be paying in full the park department for the ice rink, or are we going in? I think last year did we share half the expense?
I think what ended up happening was actually they had gotten enough sponsorships, and then I think the Visitors Bureau had contributed some,
You're right.
and then we contributed a portion, but it wasn't, I mean, I think it ended up being less than half.
Right, yeah, I think so.
I could follow up with Melissa on that. I haven't heard anything on it, so I would assume that the funding's been taken care of. I know they had kind of started the sponsorship drive a lot earlier this year. Yeah, so I can follow up with Melissa on that though. And then,
Is it the same company doing
correct. Yep. Correct. And I think,
And that's rain or shine, like,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, which if I remember right, the weather was actually like perfect.
Yeah, it was
Last
good
year.
weather last year.
It wasn't like super cold, and it wasn't warm, so warm that you like wanted to quit after 10 minutes. Not that I did that, like if I remember right, I think Saturday night my wife went into labor, so.
it? So you kept skating for a couple more hours?
Well, no, so it was funny, I was up there working because like the speaker we had set up was working fine all day, and then Jesse texted me at like 4 or 5 o'clock and was like, hey, the speaker quit working. So I'm up there like troubleshooting and trying to figure it out, and like by the time I get done, my wife's like, yeah, we need to go. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, perfect, I'm coming home. So, that's, I think that's all I've got. Does anybody have any questions? Comments?
Do you have any updates on that mountain bike trail? Where did that go? What's going on next?
So we're still waiting to hear back on the grant results. Brad had put in for, I believe, the full request amount, which is 400,000.
So it's all in his hands right now.
Yeah, I mean, we're just kind of waiting to hear back. I could follow up. I can't remember off the top of my head what the result, like when we would hear the results from it. So
That'd be another good addition
for
to.
sure,
Sure.
for sure. So that's all I got on that.
Do you have any updates on the, I don't even know the terminology, you'll know better than I do, but the income tax stuff that we talked about, how it's gonna affect our funding moving forward? Has anything changed or?
So Jane had sent me, she had somehow estimated it, but basically was able to calculate what the park would be short as a result of the changes coming in to be for fiscal year 27, because 26 is already appropriated. There's really no changes because the law doesn't take effect. Or, well, it's taken effect, but the tax revenue doesn't come back around until 27. So I think we estimated it was like a $35,000 shortfall for the park. And then obviously some of the other departments would be affected as well. We're still trying to get clarification, which Jane and I are going to be speaking with someone that's knowledgeable on the topic to try to better ascertain what our options are. I think there's some hope, especially among the rural clerk treasurers, that the state is going to allow these small towns to take some of their capital money and shift it to just to be able to operate. That's kind of the issue. And then just get a better handle on what the options are, and then hopefully be able to work with the town council to figure out a solution. Because, on paper, you look on Gateway, there's plenty of money there, and we have a decent reserve in the general fund as well. The issue that you run into is that with all these little funds, like Marshall Special Fund, like that's specifically for Chief Falkenberg to use for, I don't know, for training, for vests, for cameras, whatever. You know, that money can't be used for the park department. That's specifically for his department. And then we have something similar. You know, we have our park special fund, which is concession revenue that we generate. So we're the only ones that can use that. So yeah, on paper, it looks like we have a ton of money, but we can't use that money to operate with, if that makes sense. Like I can't go out and hire a full-time person, and James can't go out and hire another officer with it because it has to be used for capital projects. So that's the hope, is through this winter and coming into the next budget season, we can all put our heads together and figure out how we're going to fix this. It's not like dire. I think that we'll come up with a solution without too much gnashing of teeth, but it would be good to have a long-term game plan rather than just trying to move money around to keep going.
Do they know what the total impact is for the town? I know you said 35 for the town, what's the total impact?
Jane would know that number. She's probably already gamed it out. From what I was reading through in SB1, towns can petition their county councils to raise local income tax. And then basically a portion of that, there's a cap on what the state will allow for local income tax. But then a portion of that would get earmarked specifically for towns. And that would be portioned back out, I think, based on population size. Because we don't actually collect the local income tax, the county does for us. So, yeah, there's some moving parts to that, and well, and it's another hurdle is would the county council support something like that? We don't know. So we'll keep working on it, but yeah, it's definitely on the radar.
I was thinking it was going to impact us this coming year, so I'm glad to hear it's at least another year out.
Yeah, I think basically there's like a 3-year phase in. And unfortunately, the hit gets a little more every year until it's like, okay, the changes have taken place, which I'm sure you guys are seeing it too at the school board. I mean, it's really, politics aside, well, I guess you can't really divorce the politics from it, but like there's a disproportionate impact between the urban and suburban areas and the rural areas. Because in a place like Noblesville or Fishers, they can make that back up with income tax, no problem. It doesn't even faze them. It's just a matter of how do we collect the money. For us, you know, we're very fortunate that we do live in a decently well-off community. There's going to be other communities in our county and counties around us that aren't going to be so lucky.
Yeah.
But it's still going to hurt us because so much of local, rural municipalities, rural schools is so dependent on property tax to function. And so I think Jane is hopeful, and a lot of the other rural clerk treasurers are hopeful that maybe they'll put some provisions in this and amend it a little bit to try to lessen the blow for the rural communities, but who knows? So,
It's all good stuff, man.
yeah, so we'll figure it out. But that's all I've got. If nobody has any other questions, I guess it's on to the vouchers.
first voucher is for the community center in the amount of $4,000.57.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
I've got a motion to approve $4,000.57 in vouchers for the community center. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes 3-0. And then we've got the vouchers for the Park and Rec Yellow Park, $2,000, $2,978.83.
Making a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Got a motion to approve. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes to approve $2,978.83 for Yellow Park vouchers. Any public comments? Questions, concerns?
If there's no other comments, I'll make a motion to end the meeting.
I'll second that.
All right, we got a motion to end the meeting at 7:47, or 7:37. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Next-
Meeting is adjourned.
Just for record keeping, the next meeting will be January the 5th at 7 PM here at Town Hall.